Thank you. I would like to express my deepest sympathy to the families of the Stardust victims. The pain and loss they have endured is unimaginable. I would like to acknowledge the unwavering determination and dedication displayed by the families in their pursuit of truth and justice. Their resilience in the face of adversity is truly commendable. It is important to recognise that the journey to this point has been a long and arduous one for the victims and their families. It is my sincere hope that this acknowledgement brings some measure of solace to those affected by this tragedy. The Stardust fire disaster, one of the greatest injustices in our country's history, is a story of relentless pursuit of truth, profound commitment to justice and a heartbreaking tragedy. The inquests into the disaster were the longest ever held in Ireland, ordered after the families fought a lengthy legal battle. These inquests starkly contrasted the original ones held in 1982, which lasted only 5 days and focused merely on the medical cause of deaths rather than the circumstances leading to the fire. The fire, which occurred at the nightclub complex in RT in Dublin, led to an inquiry, the Keane Tribunal in 1982. The Tribunal's conclusion that the fire was probably caused deliberately was strongly opposed by the Stardust family. This conclusion, deeply cynical and strange, allowed the nightclub owners to claim compensation from Dublin Corporation, adding insult to injury. The Tribunal of Inquiry that convened within 3 weeks of the fire found the probable cause was arson, outraging the families, who said it smeared the dead, and allowed the nightclub manager, Eamon Buttery, to claim $580,000 compensation for malicious damage. This infuriated survivors and relatives of the dead, who saw it as a victim blaming. The coroner, Myra Cullinan, acknowledged the families' persistence in obtaining a fresh inquest. She hoped that the families took some solace from the fact that these fresh inquests were held, the facts surrounding the deaths were examined in detail, and that the families felt fully involved in the proceedings. The inquest findings were a result of tireless campaigning by the families, with no thanks to any government. Last Thursday represented a day of vindication. In 2009, the Dáil overturned the arson findings, but this was only a partial victory for the families. They needed the full facts of what happened on that fateful Valentine's Day to be brought to light. Now the truth has been revealed. The fire started due to an electrical fault and was first seen between 1:20 a.m. and 1:40 a.m. The jury found that the foam used in the seats, carpet, tiles and the height of the ceilings contributed to the spread of the blaze factors, such as lack of visibility due to black smoke, the toxicity of the gases and the smoke heat, the failure of the emergency lighting indoors that were locked, chained or obstructed, not only prevented escape but also contributed to the death toll. The families who have been persistent in overcoming the obstacles placed before them deserve today's state apology. It's disgraceful how this disaster was quickly swept under the rug, especially when those left behind were still in shock. Last week, the truth about the events of Valentine's Night 1981 came to light. The inquest jury found that 48 young people were unlawfully killed after an electrical fault started at a fire in the Stardust nightclub. The fire killed 48 people, aged 16 to 27, injured 214, left questions over how it started and why it claimed so many victims. The families said previous efforts, including a tribunal inquiry, a victim compensation tribunal, and 2 legislature-appointed reviews, were rushed or botched, reflecting official indifference to working class communities. Successive governments over 4 decades had failed the families and the victims of honour, but also a day of deep sadness, hurt and regret. We must think in particular of those whose passing means this conclusion comes too late for them. If the state's apology to the Stardust family and the victims is based on a moral code, as opposed to empty political rhetoric, you, Taoiseach, should be on behalf of this state meet with the Whiddy Island families as a matter of urgency, and in that meeting deliver news that fresh inquests have been ordered by your Attorney General as they seek justice for the fireball explosion which claimed the lives of 50 innocent people off of Bantry in 1979. The state must also urgently review the manner in which inquests are being conducted in the state and the verdicts available to jurors. The Stardust tragedy was one of the darkest moments in our history, a heartbreaking tragedy because of the lives that were lost, the families that were changed forever, and the long drawn-out struggle for justice that followed. Their relentless pursuit of truth and accountability, their profound commitment to justice, even in the face of commitment to justice, even in the face of overwhelming challenges and setbacks, was not only a fight for their loved ones, but a campaign to ensure that such a disaster never happens again. It's time for the state to step up and make amends.
Thank you, Deputy.